Nope.
Hello, dear listener, and welcome to the first video of 2020. Since January is notoriously a time where waves of people sign up for the gym in hopes of fulfilling the mantra of New Year, New Me, I figured this would be a great time to announce a cross-partnership with another brand I have my hand in, Divinity Activewear. Divinity is an activewear and apparel line that celebrates the history and lore of ancient cultures. Through January, you can save 15% off your order by using promo code NOPE at checkout. I'll leave a link down below. All month long, I'll be posting videos related to the brand in some way. So with that said, let's kick things off with 5 tales of creepy gym encounters. Number 1. I'm a sophomore at university. Like many women my age, I find going to the gym to be a pretty nice way to break up or start my day. I typically work out during the mornings, but one day I went in the evening since I didn't have much time earlier. Let me clarify. I understand it's somewhat natural to look at other people in the gym. As a woman, I feel the stares at moments, but never to a point where I need to remove myself from the situation. On this evening, though, I noticed an older guy walk into the same workout room as me, and I didn't think much of it. I proceeded to work out, and thought he left, which relieved me because he gave me some majorly creepy vibes. 30 minutes into my workout, I'm the only girl in the room, and I noticed he had been sitting in a corner in the back, angled to look at me. Sitting would be an understatement. He was spread out on his side, licking his lips as he stared not just at me, but at my crotch. I wish I said something, but to be honest, I was so stunned by how blatantly gross he was acting that I just got up and left. I reported his actions to a lady working at one of the gym desks, describing his build and attire, but she already knew who I was talking about. Yeah, he's super creepy, but we can't really do anything about him. You're not going to go back in there, are you? As creepy as the man was, I was more disturbed by the fact that nothing could be done about it. She even knew him by name, which means others have definitely complained. I still go to that gym, but I always avoid the later hours. Number 2. This happened to me when I was maybe 15 or 16, living in what I thought was a very safe neighborhood in Northern Virginia. I'm pretty tall for a girl, so I also never felt like an easy target, which is dumb, I know. It was approximately 8 p.m., and since I was a little chunky at this age, I was embarrassed to walk to the gym in the daylight. I was extremely self-conscious. I'd only go to the gym at night, so fewer people would be there, and it was less likely I'd see someone from my high school. The walk is approximately 20 minutes from my house to the gym. I guess the gym closes early on Saturdays, because as I walked up to the doors of the gym, I realized it was closed. All the lights were on, so I walked up to the doors to peer inside and read the hours. As I turned around to make my way back home, I noticed there was a man walking directly towards me, as if he was going into the gym too. I didn't think anything of it, and just gave a polite smile and mumbled hello. He smiled back at me, and I noticed he wasn't wearing any workout clothes. I made my way out of the parking lot, crossed the busy intersection, and began walking along the busy road to get to my neighborhood. Since this path has a lot of bike riders, and I was listening to my iPod, I looked over my shoulder every minute or so to see if a bike was coming. The first few times I looked over my shoulder, no one was there, but eventually, when I looked over my shoulder, the exact same man I saw when I was walking away from the gym was about 100 feet behind me. It immediately struck me as very strange. What was the chance he was going this same way? At this point, I was at the entrance for my neighborhood, and I took a turn into the area. I had already taken out my headphones so I could hear anything happening behind me. I was running through scenarios in my head of what I should do. I quickened my pace and tried to hurry home. I looked over my shoulder again, and he was still following me. At this point, I knew for sure I was being followed. There was no way in hell he lived this way too. I kept walking quickly, and my head was racing on what to do. Just then, I heard running footsteps behind me. Everyone says it's fight or flight, and for some weird reason, my brain chose fight. I immediately spun around. To my surprise, it was just a local runner dude in the neighborhood that I've seen before. I must have had a terrified look on my face because he gave me such a weird look and just ran past me. At this point, my heart was racing. As the familiar runner guy passed, I looked behind me again, and the man following me was still there. I immediately felt stupid and thought I missed my chance to tell the runner guy that a man was following me. Just then, I see a woman walking her 2 dogs. I immediately started speed walking over to her. She's on the opposite side of the road, so I start crossing the road to get over there quickly. I look over my shoulder one more time, and the man is gone. The woman gives me a polite hello, and I immediately started sprinting home. I think he thought whatever he was going to do wasn't a good idea anymore because there were too many people around. So to the man following me, let's not meet again. Number 3. I was in my early 20s and had just moved into a new apartment. The complex was a pretty large one, with multiple pools. I chose to live in an apartment in one of the other buildings because it had a super cozy vibe and was surrounded by trees and shrubs. There was a pool outside of my balcony and a small gym to the side of that. It was perfect because I like my privacy, and no one ever really went to that gym or pool since there were nicer facilities near the newer buildings. After living there for a few days, I was sitting on the balcony enjoying the quiet when a young man around my age came walking around the path below me. He was tall, dark, and had various tattoos. A pretty good-looking guy. He stopped and looked up at me. "Hey, I saw you working out in the gym the other day," he said, as he nodded his head toward the little gym by the pool. The part of the gym that faced the pool was one big window, so it made sense that he would have seen me. "Do you need a key card to get into that gym, or just a code?" The answer was a code. I told him I was new here, but I thought each person may need an individual code, and to confirm it with the main office. I didn't want to give out my code and get into any trouble with management. "I thought you were new here," he said. "I have never seen you before." He went on to tell me about how he was living with his mother in her apartment in the building, and that she was sick with cancer, so he was caring for her. My heart went out to him as I had just started a relationship with someone whose mother had died of cancer when he was in his late teens. We chatted for a bit, and he asked me for my number. "It's always nice to have a neighbor's contact information," he said. I asked for his and said I would text him with mine later. This was a trick I would use to avoid giving people my number without seeming like a jerk. He told me that he didn't have a phone, only used his mom's, so it would be better if he took mine. I ended up giving it to him. I gave him the correct number because I was worried about the awkwardness of giving a new neighbor a fake number. And what if he wasn't actually coming on to me? So he takes my number and leaves. A few hours later, he calls and leaves me a message saying it was really nice talking and he would like to talk again. About 20 minutes after that, he called again. I pick up and tell him right off the bat that I already have a boyfriend and didn't want to lead him on. If you have a boyfriend, you really shouldn't change in front of your window at night, he replied. What do you mean? I asked as my heart sank into my stomach. Oh, come on, he said. I saw you looking at me. You were giving me perfect eye contact while you were undressing last night. You have a really nice body. He then went on to describe different parts of my body and how I was putting lotion on sensually. This was really embarrassing because I was vigorously rubbing cellulite cream into my thighs. I looked around my room as I talked to him to find out which window he could have seen me through. And the only one that wasn't covered by my blinds was a small corner window above my bed that connected to the corner of my balcony. The only way he could have possibly seen me was if he was literally standing on the balcony, or at least pulling himself up over it. I told him thanks for the advice and got off the phone immediately. I never saw him again, and he definitely did not live in the apartment complex. It's extremely creepy and unsettling, not knowing what could be lurking outside of your window at night. Number 4. Hey, weirdo at the gym. I just wanted to say, I see you. You are noticed. I see you almost every day in the morning. I notice that you abandon whatever machine you already had and start to move behind me. I see you when you follow me through my weight regimens. And I know you've seen me working out with my fiance. I know you've seen us kiss. We've noticed you leave with us and walk past our car, only to watch you walk back the way you came because you didn't actually park near us. I've seen you pull up your camera when I'm working out in compromising positions. I saw you today start to follow me towards the locker room. And I saw you turn the other way when another woman followed. I saw you panic when I stopped at the desk on my way out and whisper close to the female attendant. I don't know if reporting you will deter you from whatever you want with me, but weirdo at the gym, let's not ever meet. Number 5. To preface, this is still an ongoing situation, therefore this will likely be a thread. I'm a 16-year-old male, and I don't really partake in any sports. I'm a computer programmer, gamer, and avid comic book/movie enthusiast. That being said, to compensate for my lack of physical activity, I work out at least 4 times a week to maintain a good physique. I have a membership at my local 24-hour gym. I started going 2 years ago. It's a pretty big establishment with multiple floors, but I usually spend my time on the main floor, which has a spacious room with all of the workout equipment you could ever want. I usually do a full body workout when I go, so I tend to use all of the equipment. That being said, last week, this all started. After I finish my cardio, I go down to the padded area where people typically do their ab workouts, and I get started going through my routine. In the middle of doing my plank, I notice a guy ostensibly staring at me. He was on my right and was wearing sunglasses, so I gave him the benefit of the doubt and wrote it off as him looking at something else. I couldn't actually see his eyes. After I proceed to my next exercise, he quickly leaves my head, until I get to doing my squats. That's when he starts very obviously staring at me. His head was turned in my direction, and there was nothing else to look at. I give him the benefit of the doubt, again, thinking maybe he was just lost in thought. That thought was completely diminished when he came over and without solicitation, touched me, proclaiming that I was, quote, not doing my squats correctly, which I knew of course was complete bullcrap. At this point, he has his hand on my glutes. Let me also say that I am very clearly underage. I do not look a day over 15. Everything about this situation was just wrong, and I knew it. I was honestly paralyzed. After I snapped out of it, I thanked him and told him that I got it. He smiled with the most perverted and creepy smile I'd ever seen. He goes back to his area and continues to stare me down like a hawk stalking its prey. I stupidly don't report him and don't tell anybody about the situation. I was extremely perturbed nonetheless. I go back the next day and pray he isn't there. But lo and behold, I see him sitting around with his creepy sunglasses. When he sees me, he smiles creepily at me and waves. I don't reciprocate at all. I wanted to avoid all confrontation with this guy. Anyway, I do my cardio without incident. And when I get to the padded area, he's not there. But in the middle of my workout, the guy plops down next to me and asks, "Hey buddy, how often do you come to this gym?" I was honestly startled and responded with a slurred, when I can. I put my earbuds back in the hope that I would give him the signal that I had no interest in conversing. I start doing my push-ups, and out of the corner of my eye, the creep is just laying there, analyzing me. He then decides to give me a lesson on the anatomy of the bicep. He started touching my arm. He was almost caressing it. I just awkwardly said, "Okay." I was trying to be as cordial as possible, since I didn't want to retaliate and potentially mischaracterize him. I go to this gym often and didn't want to develop a reputation. He then started putting his hand toward my genitalia, and that's when I sprung up and got out of there. The people around me looked disconcerted, and one woman went up to me and asked if I knew who the man was, to which I replied no. Once again, I didn't report the guy, as I still feared that I misconstrued what he was doing and he was just trying to help. The next couple of times I went, I didn't see him at all. But yesterday is when things escalated to a point where I knew this guy had malicious intentions. I am back at the ab workout area, and the guy doesn't confront me at all, but has his phone pointed at me in a very suspicious way. It looked as if he was taking pictures of me, or maybe even recording a video. I was freaked out, but couldn't say anything, because for all I knew he was just reading an article or something. I was unsettled, but continued my workout. This wasn't even the worst part. After my workout, I go to wash my hands in the locker room. The people in there have a tendency to walk around naked, which I find to be very repulsive, but there's no rule against it. So this sick creep is in the locker room, and I curse myself under my breath. While I'm washing my hands, the bastard comes up literally right behind me and says, "After working out, you should shower. Come with me, I'll help." I tell him to fuck off, and then I'm reporting him to the gym and the police. Everybody else in the locker room hears this. I don't know what happened to him because I hauled ass out of there as quickly as possible. I do act according to my threat and report him to the gym, but I didn't have a name, and there are no cameras in the locker room, so the only evidence I have is him touching me in the gym. I tell my father, and he is infuriated. My father goes to the same gym, and when I described the guy to him, my father said that he recognized who I was talking about. He said that that guy is always talking to younger people in the gym, and it has always creeped him out. That's all for now. We are going to file a police report pretty soon, and I'll post as soon as further details come out. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the first video of 2020 and the first video of the Divinity Activewear cross promotion. Hopefully this video didn't scare you away from joining your local gym if you're not a member at one already. If you're still bold enough to head over there and want to rock some fresh gear, be sure to check out Divinity Activewear using the link below. And remember, get 15% off your order by using promo code NOPE at checkout. With that said, everyone, remember to stay safe out there. I'll be seeing you in the next video.